Hello, the subject is marketing management and the topic is marketing environment, elements of macro environment. The business is affected by both internal and external factors. The external factors are of macro in nature and they are uncontrollable by the business concern. There are various factors which lie outside the business concern which affect and impact the business and its operations. These factors, some do have favorable effect on the business operations and certain have unfavorable effect on the business operations. Though they are unfavorable and uncontrollable, the business concern has to know what these factors are and they have to have strategies to manage these factors in a better way so that they can benefit from those. Let us see the meaning of macro environment. The macro environment is the uncontrollable factor of the company. For this reason, it has to structure its policies in the limits set by these factors. Macro environment on the whole deals with demographic, economic, technological, natural, social, cultural, and politico-legal environment aspects of the markets. All these factors are huge in concept. It is not so easy to understand these concepts, and it is not so easy to control these factors by those tiny organizations, even by the largest of business houses. These factors influence and affect the business to a larger extent beyond imagination. They do create opportunities, but the more is the risk part that is being given as gift by these elements of macro environment to the business concerns and to the business operations. Let us see one by one what are the elements of macro environment and how do they affect and impact the business as a whole and what the business can do to reap in the better benefits from those macro environment elements. The first element in macro environment is demography. Demography means the study of population in that particular area. It is characterized as the factual investigation of the human populace and its dissemination. This is a standout amongst the most impacting variables because it manages the individuals who structure the business. The entire organization focuses on the population of that particular demography. The business, all its marketing, design, and strategy should be focused towards the demographic features of that particular market. An organization ought to study the populace, its conveyance, age structure, and so forth before choosing its strategy of marketing. Each faction of the populace acts differently, relying on a range of factors, for example, age, status, and so on. If these variables measured, a company can manufacture only those products which suit the necessity of the buyers. In this respect, it is said that to comprehend the business sector, one must comprehend its demography. The company has to constantly study the demographic features of that particular market. These demographic features, if studied well and derived at right results, the marketing strategies can be designed so forth so that the company can reduce the risk of failure in the sales of its products. If the demographic features are studied well, and if their needs are studied in reality, the company can design aptly to match the needs and wants of that particular demography. The company, if it loses focus on demography and if it focuses on its business as itself, then such businesses and for such businesses, demography becomes a hindrance and it will create lot of problems which the business can never solve in short time of the business era. So it is the business which is to focus, and the marketing department has to have more focus towards the demography of that particular environment or the market. The next element in macro environment is economic environment. Economic environment, here we refer to what is the type of economy the market have. What is the type of marketing that can be suited to particular economy? Not all economies have all marketing strategies. Certain economies are feasible to certain marketing strategies as a whole. Economic components are general monetary value, investment rates, exchange rates, inflation rates, fiscal strategies, balance of payment, and so forth. Should an organization worry about all these things? If you ask any marketing manager, he will say yes. The marketing manager has to focus on all these economic components because it is going to influence a lot towards the business of his concern. An organization can effectively offer its product just when individuals have enough cash to spend. Only the economic factors will reveal how much cash do the population in the economy have. The financial environment influences a customer's buying behavior, either by expanding his disposable income or by decreasing it. We can study this example and have an understanding about that. During inflation, which is a constant process, the money value decreases. Thus, it is troublesome for them to buy more products. The income of the customer should likewise be considered. In a business sector where both wife and husband work, their acquiring power will be more, whereas in case of single man or a single individual working in a family, such families will not have so much money to spend. Their expenses will be reduced to the amount of earning. Consequently, organizations may offer their products effortlessly if they get to know what is the level of economic status of that particular families and consumers who exist in that particular area or market. So it is prime importance for the companies and the business organizations to study the economic environment of that particular market, which is going to give a huge benefit if known well what is the level of economic status in that particular market. and as per that economic status, the company can focus on designing the need and wanted products like either survival products or luxury goods. It is left to the economic status and its effect on the business as a whole. So it is important for the company to study the economic environment which is going to affect the business of any concern, be it small, medium, or large. It is the economic status of that particular market which is going to reveal the future of the business. The next element in macro environment is physical environment. Physical environment here we refer to the nature and ecology, the resources and the environment that exists all around us, how rich it is. These components incorporate the climate, atmosphere, environmental change, accessibility of water, accessibility of raw materials, and so on. A company has to implement its policies contained by the restrictions set by nature. A man can enhance nature, however, can't find an option for it. Why a company has to focus on nature so much is because nature offers all the resources for the business need and wants in a restricted way. The company has to understand that the resources in the nature are very limited and the company should know that it should not exploit. If the company is going to exploit, it is going to result in danger for the company itself because the resources are getting depleted. The product manager has to use it very proficiently. Not only the product manager, even the company itself and the business world itself should know how much to use and how much to reuse. Companies must discover the best mix of products for productive usage of the accessible assets. If not, they may confront intense deficiency of resources. And if there is not going to be resources available in this world, many industries and many companies might have to be shut, though you are best in the market. And you have n number of examples for such kind of industries which have gone to zero runs when where they were all profitable in business. So a company should know how much to take in from the nature and how much to restore the nature to maintain balance in her activities. Nature has continuously kept on giving and nature cannot be exploited and man cannot survive exploiting nature because man is a part of nature. Nature is not the part of man, is what to be understood by the business concern and business manager, and especially the marketing team has to know this. And this marketing department is hugely affected. The business concerns are by large affected by weather like climate, atmosphere, environmental change, accessibility of water, raw materials, etc. And these factors more than more than creating opportunities, they do create risk for the business if these things are not in balance, if these things are far away from the business world. Though they are the base of opportunity for the business, sometimes they do create problems for the business. Hence, the business has to know to what extent they have to depend on nature and to what extent they have to be free from nature, treating the nature at its highest point. The next element of macro environment is technological factors. Technological factors here we refer to those things that keeps on changing minute to minute, day by day, month by month. Every day there is invention, every day there are discoveries, every now and then there is innovation. Things keep on changing rapidly in the technological world, and investment in this technology is a burdensome concept for the business world. They cannot confine that this is the ultimate technology that they can invest on, and this creates problems for the company's capital and decision making process. Technological variables incorporate the innovative work, robotization, development of web and other communication innovations. Innovation inducements and barriers to technology. From the consumer's perspective, change in innovation implies a change in the living standard. It is always innovation that increases the standard of living in the world. In this respect, it is said that technologies figure a person's life. Technology drives a person's life. Technology gives meaning for people's life, but it has only created speed and havoc. Each innovation creates another business and another group of clients, which has to be understood by the business owners. Another innovation enhances the way of life and in the meantime creates numerous issues as well. Technology not only gives chances for us to live better, but it also creates problems for us to have stressful life. Example, invention of different purchaser comforts like washing machines, blenders, and so forth have brought about enhancement in our way of lifestyle. Yet, it has made serious issues like shortage of power. Similarly, innovation in autos have enhanced transportation. However, it has brought about the issues like air and noise contamination, more accidents, more loss of life, etc. In plain words, the following are the effects of technological aspects of the market: creation of new desire, creation of new industries, may wipe out old industries, may augment the expenditure on R&D. This is so true. Technological change creates more desire in the minds of the customers and consumers, and it does increase the thirst of profit in the minds of business owners. Creation of new industries are possible because of technological change. Creation of new industries are possible at one side, and the other side, old technological dependent companies are wiped out of the market and they go to zeros. And most of the times, this change in technology creates more expenditure on R&D in the race to be the best in the market. The companies have to shell out a lot of money on these technology and tech savvy investments and equipments. The next element in macro environment is social and cultural factors. Social and cultural factors means the, the social status of that particular society and the kind of cultural values and ethics that are being followed in that particular society influence and impact the business. The vast majority of us buy in light of impact of cultural and social elements. The lifestyle, qualities, convictions and so on is dead set besides everything else by the society in which we live. Every society has its own culture. Culture, what is this culture then? Culture is nothing but a blend of different variables which are exchanged from more established eras and which are gained. It is from the past that we have developed a culture. Our conduct is guided by our way of life, family, instructive foundations, dialects, and so on. Social components are the cultural and social viewpoints, which incorporate health, cognizance, the growth rate of population, age distribution, career approach, and the importance of security as a whole. The society is a mix of different groups with diverse cultures and subcultures. Every society has its conduct, has its code of ethics. The marketing manager of a company must study the society in which he works, and he should know what is the culture that is being prevalent in that particular market, only to know that what can be offered to suit that particular culture and society. Example, in India we have distinctive cultural groups like Kashmiris, Punjabis, Assamese, and so forth. The manager of marketing of a company ought to observe these distinctions before finalizing the marketing schemes. He should design the marketing schemes and strategies to suit and not to hurt these societies and their culture. It should give respect to that particular society and culture, and if given, those customers do respond well to the companies and their strategies, thus enhancing the value and profit for the business. And this builds a favorable business relationships in the ever changing world, though it is still based in traditions. The next element in macro environment is political and legal factors. This includes politics and the legal framework that the political system has in that particular governing boundary. It speaks of the ideologies, policies, and practices of political parties. With the change in political parties, several changes are seen in the market in terms of trade, taxes, duties, codes and practices, market regulations, etc. Some governments are in favor of capitalism, some governments are in favor of privatization, and some governments are in favor of production, and some governments are not so favor in the form of new technical and technological production systems. So the firm has to comply with all these changes, and the violation of which could penalize its business operations. Hence, the business has to obey and reorder themselves to the changing political and legal factors that prevail in that particular market or boundary of that particular country in which the business is operating. There is no way a business can control the political and legal factors, but it has to be bound by the political and legal factors. To move towards the success, it has to adhere to the rules and regulations laid down by the political and legal factors of that particular market. How to do this? It is so simple. All these macro environment elements are uncontrollable factors, and what the business can do is the detailed scanning of the environment of the business is very important, which can be done by the process of environmental scanning that helps to identify the various opportunities and threats, and accordingly the business can design and rerun their business towards success, limiting their risks and expanding their opportunities towards the benefit of both the customers and the business as a whole. Thus, we have studied all the factors and elements of macro environment. Thanks for listening.